Have you ever opened a Zoom link, confident that you were about to join the right meeting, only to realize 3 seconds later that you were in completely the wrong place? Yeah, that happened to me last week, and I still can't believe I survived it without completely losing my mind. I had a meeting scheduled with my team. Something routine, nothing major, just a quick check-in. I got my coffee, settled into my chair, adjusted my lighting, made sure my background was neat, and clicked the link. I was ready to contribute, to look professional, to impress. That's when the nightmare started. The moment I joined the meeting, I was met with about 20 unfamiliar faces, all staring at me. There was a brief pause, just long enough for the cold realization to hit me. This wasn't my team. None of these people had any idea who I was, and every expression on their faces screamed, "Why is this person here?" I froze for a moment, my brain scrambling for options. Should I leave quietly? Pretend it's a technical glitch? Wave awkwardly and hope someone recognizes me? Panic washed over me in waves as I realized I was not just in the wrong Zoom call. I was fully immersed in a meeting I had no context for, no preparation, and no escape plan. At first, I tried to assess the situation. People were discussing topics, tossing around jargon, and referencing documents I didn't have access to. Words flew past me like a foreign language, and I nodded at all the right moments, hoping that my fake confidence would buy me time. I laughed at jokes I didn't understand, scribbled notes that made absolutely no sense, and pretended to be following along. But deep down, my heart was racing, and my palms were sweating, as I realized I might have to speak at some point. And of course, the worst part happened exactly when I feared it most. The host, mid-sentence, turned to me and said, "What do you think about this approach?" My mind went blank. For a terrifying moment, I considered simply muting myself and pretending my microphone was broken. But my professional instincts kicked in, and I decided to do the only thing a rational human in my position could do. I faked an answer. I nodded slowly, smiled, and said something that sounded vague, but vaguely intelligent. I threw in phrases like, "That's a good point, and we could consider multiple perspectives," and miraculously, no one questioned me. I exhaled slowly, feeling like I had narrowly escaped a public catastrophe. Once I survived that first terrifying interaction, I realized the challenge wasn't over. The meeting continued, and I had to keep up appearances while deciphering what was happening. People were referencing spreadsheets, action items, and previous discussions that I had no knowledge of. Kai typed meaningless notes in the chat, nodded when appropriate, and occasionally laughed, hoping my body language conveyed engagement. Each minute felt like walking a tightrope over a pit of social anxiety. I had to be perfect, composed, and quick-thinking while processing information I didn't understand. Somehow, I made it through the initial panic. I started to pick up a few things, like the general topic and a couple of key points. I realized that by faking comprehension, my brain was actually starting to piece together meaning. It's strange, but pretending to understand forced me to pay attention in a way I never would have if I had openly admitted confusion. I was forced to improvise, connect dots, and think critically on the fly, And while I still had no idea what most of the meeting was about, I had enough grasp to appear competent. Then came the real climax. A breakout session. The host split everyone into smaller groups for discussion, and I was thrown into a group where I didn't know anyone and had no context for the task. Panic hit me full force. I smiled awkwardly, introduced myself with my best professional tone, and immediately tried to steer the conversation into general topics where I could contribute. Without revealing my lack of understanding, I asked vague questions, nodded emphatically, and repeated key words I heard from others. I even used phrases like, "Could you elaborate on that?" to buy myself time. My heart was pounding, but I was surviving. By the end of the breakout session, I had somehow convinced a few people that I was competent, engaged, and prepared. My adrenaline was still high, but I had learned an important lesson. Sometimes, faking your way through a situation forces you to focus, think critically, and adapt faster than you ever would have otherwise. I left the breakout room with a sense of cautious victory, even though I knew I still had no real clue what was going on. Finally, when the main meeting resumed, I took the opportunity to quietly exit, pretending I had another commitment. I clicked leave meeting with a calm expression, my heart still racing, and took a deep breath. Freedom, relief, survival. I sat back, laughed at the absurdity of the experience, and realized I had just navigated one of the most universally terrifying modern moments, walking into the wrong Zoom meeting. And the funny thing is, I wasn't alone. Everyone has experienced that awkward, heart-stopping panic of joining the wrong virtual room. And somehow surviving it makes for an incredible story. Now, I want to hear from you. Have you ever accidentally joined the wrong Zoom meeting or virtual call? Did you panic, try to pretend everything was fine, or just leave immediately? Comment down below with your funniest, most awkward, or most relatable stories, I promise. I'll read them and laugh along with you. And if you enjoyed this story of modern panic and survival, hit the like button because it helps me keep creating content full of relatable moments, stress, and comedy that everyone can connect with. And if you're not subscribed yet, click the subscribe button and turn on notifications so you don't miss future stories of awkward, funny, and human experiences in the digital age. So remember, walking into the wrong Zoom meeting is terrifying, stressful, and hilarious all at the same time. It's a test of your ability to improvise, stay calm, and adapt under pressure. And it's a story you'll laugh about later. Next time it happens, just remember to nod, smile, and pretend you know what's going on. You might survive, you might even impress people, and you'll definitely have a story to tell. The chaos, confusion, and awkwardness are all part of the universal experience of modern life. And it's moments like these that make us human, relatable, and endlessly entertaining.